This was just reported March 4th today by Pro Football Talk on NBC Sports. Multiple teams have called the Raiders asking about Derek Carr. And we know that the Washington Commanders said they hit up every team. And we also know the Washington Commanders, it has been reported, they offered the Seattle Seahawks multiple first-round picks for Russell Wilson, and Seattle turned it down. From what we know, Seattle turned it down. That's what's being reported by NFL insiders. Seattle turned down that trade by the Washington Commanders, which would send multiple first-round picks for Russell Wilson. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the Washington Commanders really want a quarterback, and that tells you that they're willing to spend a lot of money, a lot of resources to get that quarterback, multiple first-round picks. So what if, ladies and gentlemen, what if the Raiders get offered something they just simply cannot refuse? Now, we just shown, multiple teams are on the phone, and this happens around this time of the year. It's normal. It doesn't necessarily mean that Derek Carr is gone. Doesn't mean that Derek Carr is gone. But we know around this time of the year, and for sure this year, especially of all years, what's happening is multiple teams are picking up that phone, and they're saying, Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, I don't see an extension there for old Derek Carr, that QB out of Fresno State. I don't see an extension there. So what's the holdup? Is he on the market? Let's make a deal. Maybe I'll give you an offer you can't refuse. Maybe I'll give you what I was going to give for Russell Wilson, because Derek Carr is 2 years younger than Russell Wilson. Derek Carr has a longer future than Russell Wilson in the NFL. And Derek Carr, and I know people hate when I say this, and I made a video about this in the season. Derek Carr had a better year than Russell Wilson. And the only way to kind of wiggle around that is to make injury excuses for Russell Wilson, which people don't make for Derek Carr. By the way, when Derek Carr had a bad 2017 season, nobody made injury excuses for him. Nobody said, his back was broken for half the year. Nobody said that. For Russell Wilson, people are going to make some excuses. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Hans Moleman. Shout out to Hans Moleman in the chat. I will actually, you know what? I'll do this. Just because I'm happy that Hans Moleman is here, I'll let you guys on a little Wi-Fi Willie tattoo secret. I'll let you guys in on a little Wi-Fi Willie tattoo. Got myself Homer as a sperm cell. It's the only tattoo Wi-Fi Willie has. But I had to give a shout out to Hans Moleman. I'm sorry. That was dope. So Derek Carr, I think, would be great with the Raiders, obviously long term. But if you are rebuilding, if you're consciously rebuilding, if you're accepting the fact that this roster is not where it needs to be, if you're accepting the fact that this team is not where it needs to be, then it does become an open question. Like, what do you do with Derek Carr? And when you are offered something like multiple first-round picks, what do you do in that situation? What do you do? Maybe you get some resources for the future. I don't know. I personally think with how everything has happened so far in the NFL these past few years, how every single team that hosts the Super Bowl, at least these past 2 years, the Buccaneers, then LA, every team that hosts the Super Bowl wins the Super Bowl. That's happened 2 years in a row. Is Arizona going to win the 2023 season Super Bowl? And are the Raiders going to win the 2024 season Super Bowl? If that's the case, then maybe we can't rebuild now. If that's the case, then the Super Bowl window is 2024. That's what it is. But I anticipate still the probability is very high that Derek Carr becomes remains the starting QB for the Raiders. But I also can't neglect these reports. I can't neglect the fact that teams are calling, and I can't neglect the fact that no matter what Ziegler and McDaniels say, there's always something a little awkward about it. There's always some weird hesitation. There's always a moment where you're like, okay, like, why did you pause there? Why did you smile there? Why do you look so freaking nervous, right? There's a lot of that. But, it's hard being in the limelight. That's too. When you're a coach and a GM, you are put center stage. The difference between Josh McDaniels, Dave Ziegler, compared to John Gruden and Mike Mayock are Mike Mayock and John Gruden have media training. Mike Mayock and John Gruden know how to talk to the league. They know how to talk to the NFL. They know how to handle a media room. They know how to field questions. They know how to be entertaining. They know how to distract. They know how to manipulate the media. Now, Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels, I think they are well trained. I do think they do a great job of not committing to anything while also saying a lot of words. You saw Josh McDaniels' comment on Leatherwood. It was somewhat like, oh, yes, maybe, he's great, guard, tackle. Basically, when you hear Josh McDaniels' comments about Alex Leatherwood, you don't even know if this guy's going to be on the team, and you don't know what position he's going to play. But he was able to talk for a little bit about him without giving anything up. So there's still some good media training between those individuals, McDaniels and Ziegler, but they don't have the same experience as actually working for media in the NFL, like Mayock and Gruden. So I personally think they're going to be a little nervous. Even just being in front of the cameras, they just literally have not been in front of the camera that much compared to them. So they're going to be nervous. So perhaps these nerves that they have had at these press conferences, these awkward answers, these fumbled answers that people have been talking about, perhaps that is, just being green to media. But we don't know for sure. And when teams start calling about Derek Carr, and when you start acting weird, and you can't give us a straight answer, it's going to make people think. And when Carr doesn't say anything about you, really, unless he's forced to at a church event, it's going to be quite odd. So